Guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, thanks for stopping by. My name's Tolu, and on this channel I share content all around personal finance, budgeting, frugal living, and I show you how to live your best life on a budget. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back to watch another video. It's amazing to have you here with me again today. So in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is bringing you season 2 episode number 6 of Tea Money Talks, where I'm joined by Ava to talk all about her journey onto the property ladder. Ava was able to buy her first property at the young age of 20, and she's going to tell us exactly how she was able to do that on tonight's episode. In addition to talking about how she was able to get on a property ladder, she's also going to be sharing so many useful tips and tricks for anybody that's wanting to get on the property ladder too. So if you're a first time buyer and you're looking to get started on your property journey, this is definitely the episode from you, and you're definitely going to get a lot of information from this episode. So like I say every single week, grab yourself a drink and some snacks, and without further ado, I'm going to bring you episode number 6 of Tea Money Talks. And thank you for joining me on today's live. Yay! So glad to have you on. No, thank you. It's going to be a really good conversation. So I guess I've done a little bit of a pre-introduction, but I'm sure I haven't done it justice, and I haven't covered all of what you do. So if you could, in your own words, tell the lovely people of Instagram a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
So I'm a mortgage paraplanner, which is a mortgage researcher. So I do all the research to do with mortgages. I work alongside an independent mortgage advisor in Cumbria. So we do deal with clients all over the UK, and we just help people get onto the property ladder, as well as, you know, invest in property, that type of thing. Personally, I wear quite a few different hats. I'm a very keen entrepreneur. I do actually have a beauty salon as well, which I'm currently sitting in.
Oh, no way!
Yes, yeah, I do eyelash extensions.
Amazing.
So, you know, just because I'm not busy enough, apparently. But obviously, I've got my YouTube channel. I'm trying to do more kind of social media stuff around the finance and mortgages, because I just feel like, especially having bought my house at such a young age, there was such lack of education in schools surrounding the topic. I had no idea what I was doing. Good job I worked in the bank at the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have never known what to do. So I just want to provide people with that knowledge so they go into it informed.
Yes.
Well, that's me, really.
Amazing. Amen. Just a few things that you're juggling then at this moment in time. Just a few things. No, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so what I like to do on these episodes before diving into the main subject of the conversation is kind of do a bit of an icebreaker. So it's a would you rather game. So I give you 2 options. I'm like, would you rather A or B? And then you tell me which of the 2 you'd rather do. And those at home can play alongside us. Some of the questions are ones that I've done on previous episodes, so you guys may have already answered them before, but if you're new to these lives, then you can answer, and yeah, you can just answer again if you change your mind since the last time you answered these questions. So the first question: would you rather win £5 million tomorrow or £100 million in 10 years time?
Ooh, I'd rather win it now.
Yeah. Definitely take that 5 million tomorrow. Listen, I may not be here in 20 years time, so I can't be waiting to
I've got so much to do.
I don't know what's going to be happening in 20 years time, so yeah, I'll take that 5 million tomorrow, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one: earn lots of money doing a job you hate, or not earn as much money doing a job that you really love?
Definitely the second option. Exactly what I'm doing now.
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely doing something that you're passionate about is so much more important and more rewarding than the paycheck. I mean, obviously the paycheck's nice, but you want to do something that you're enjoying at the same time. Okay, so would you rather win a dream 2-week holiday or a £10,000 shopping spree at your favourite store?
Holiday.
Yeah.
I'm not a keen shopper.
Really? I was going to say you're way too quickly.
Oh, it's more of a chore than a pleasure, really. So yeah, definitely holiday.
Okay. No, I'd have to give that some thought, to be honest. Maybe I might. Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on whether actually it just say dream 2-week vacation, to be fair. So yeah, if it's really dream luxury vacation, then it'll probably be even more than that, 10 grand, to be fair. So yeah, I'll take the 2-week vacation. Okay, so would you rather be really rich or really powerful?
Ooh. That's very interesting. See, I'd probably say really rich, so then I could actually use that money to become powerful. So actually give back, because that's my ultimate goal, is to be able to give back as much as I can. So obviously doing what I'm doing now, hopefully build up that wealth and then share it.
Yes, love it. Yeah, I'll take the rich too. I'll take the rich. I want to be powerful and broke. Yeah, there's not really much power if you're broke, is there? Yeah. All right, cool. Oh, this one's a funny one. Would you rather have a £50 note or your face on every £50 note?
Oh, I would not want to see my face on a £50 note. No, I'd just take that £50 note and that's it, run.
Yeah, same. Oh, we had someone that knows you, Ava, that said you're lying about the shopping spree, by the way.
I am not lying.
Tom says you're lying. That's funny. It's always the ones that know you that be exposing your life, yeah.
I know, terrible.
Okay, and the last one, would you rather save money or spend it? So I guess I know what you're going to say.
See, I should say save money, but at the minute it's more spend.
Okay, so you spend money but not on clothes. You find other things to spend.
Yeah. Honestly, right, I cannot remember the last shopping spree I've had.
Really?
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm saying really, neither can I. Gosh. I mean, I went Primark. Go on.
My YouTube videos, I literally wear like the same 5 tops on rotation.
No, you're not the only one, you know. I do the same thing, which is why I was saying to my husband the other day, I need to get some black or white tops because I think the things that I wear are so loud as well. So it's so obvious that I'm wearing that same yellow shirt over and over again. So I'm like, I need more.
Noticed. It's
really?
Right.
I have. Even my husband was like, "You're gonna wear that again?" I'm like, "Yes, I am gonna wear it again. I paid for it and I'm gonna wear it." Yes, but no, I need to get more neutral colours or more like not so obvious colours so that people won't not wearing the same thing over and over again.
Well, that's what I've gone for. I've gone for like navy, black, white.
Clever. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Definitely. I didn't think smartly when I started my channel, but you're gonna notice that my clothes are gonna be changing over the next few episodes, and it's just gonna be all like dark.
I'll be looking out for it now.
Look out for it. Okay, cool. No, thank you. That was the last of the questions. So thanks for being a good sport and playing along. Like, yeah, I really enjoy playing this because it's good to kind of get to know what things people would or wouldn't do. So no, it was really interesting. So in terms of the conversation for today, oh my gosh, I didn't do it again. I always forget to do it. Actually write the subject in the heading before going live, because when you do that, it notifies people and tells them like what the subject is that you're going live for, rather than just saying Tolly Frimpong has gone live. Yeah, but I didn't do it, so I'm going to quickly add it now. Sorry, 1 second, guys. So I'll pin it for the sake of anyone that joins us mid conversation. Let me see if I can spell this properly. Sorry. Pressure.
Oh, it's all right. Don't worry. Don't worry. I wouldn't even know where to start with this Instagram live. I was like, oh God.
Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. If there's any typos, guys, don't judge me. I'm live and doing this under pressure. So yeah. Bought is one of those words that I always mess up. I think I've done the right bought there. Right. No, brilliant. Okay, so I guess before we dive into how you got your first property and stuff like that, like the introductory type question would be good to kind of understand a little bit about yourself and where you're coming from. So if you could, in your own words, tell the guys a little bit about your background with money, your relationship with money, how you've been with money over the years in the past versus how your relationship with money maybe has transformed over the years to where you are now.
So I've always been like extremely good with money. It got to a stage where, I mean, I was getting pocket money from my parents and I was saving it. And it got to a stage where I was lending them money.
Oh, wow.
And they would come to me to like lend a tenner or 20 quid because I didn't have any cash. And I had a little debt book and I would write it in my book to like keep track of how much like they owe me.
Love it.
So yeah, I've always been like really, really good with money when I was living at home. And luckily, my parents were really good in terms of they never made me pay rent. They never made me pay any type of keep. They always bought me stuff that I wanted. So I never really had to spend my own money, which is very privileged. And I do realise that. So I managed to save literally just about everything I was earning. I was saving.
Yeah.
So that allowed me to obviously build up a deposit to be able to buy at such a young age, which is amazing. But but yeah, I guess I was really, really good with it. And then I bought my house. I realised how much bills and everything are. And I guess like now, I'm still good with money, but I spend too much.
Really?
I'm not as good at the saving part of it anymore, which I really need to work on again. But yeah.
So what would you say you spend on? Because you said you don't like shopping for clothes. Is it house stuff? Do you buy like things for the house?
It's food. It's food. No, well, food's obviously one of them, but I think the main things is I'll go out to a shop and I'll just see something, I'll be like, oh yeah, I need that. I don't need it. I don't need it. I just
But you
buy
told
it and
yourself
it's
you need
there.
it, yeah.
And I've got that attitude of, if I want something, I just get it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of thinking, well, actually, I should probably think twice about buying it. So it varies. I'll go some months without spending really anything apart from kind of essentials. And then some months I'll just be like, oh yeah, 200 quid on a new Hoover. No bother. I'll do that.
I heard that. Okay, cool. No, that's good. That's interesting to hear. Like that, you've always been good with money. Well, I kind of thought that's what you would say, to be honest, because for you to have bought your first house at 20, you must have been good with money because
Yeah,
that's not something you just. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the age where most people are just starting to get into debt. You go to uni, you get student loan, overdraft, and all those things, and yeah, that's when you kind of spend a lot of money, waste a lot of money, as opposed to think, oh, let me buy a house. So you will definitely.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it was the fact that I didn't go to university, so I never had that loan. I never had the whole kind of uni experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, I done all my drinking at the end of 16. So
it was already out of your system by the time it was
honestly, by the time I turned 18, I was the most sensible person ever.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That is really impressive. Which that basically takes me on to my next question, actually, is how you were able to do it. Like, talk us through how you're able to buy your first house at 20, because I know you were saying that you were really good with money and stuff at a young age, but thinking to take that savings to buy a house isn't something that the average 20-year-old is thinking of. Maybe usually you'd think, oh, let me go traveling or things like that, as opposed to buy a house. So how did you end up buying your first house at 20?
So I started working when I was 16. So I was a waitress for a couple of years at a local cafe. So once again, I was saving literally majority of what I was earning. It was very rare that I would actually spend any of that money. Because I used to get paid in cash. I used to literally collect it all, open it all, because I used to get paid, I think it was once a week, but then once every 2 weeks I'd get my tips on top of it.
Oh, nice.
I used to save the envelopes that I'd get my money in and open them all at once after like 5-6 weeks, so I'd feel rich. And I would just literally keep it all in a massive envelope, and I literally had like a wad of cash in my wardrobe. It was ridiculous. Probably not great for AML purposes now, but so I was literally just saving, and then because I went to sixth form, so I was doing that part-time job while I was at sixth form, and my plan was to go to university, but I got to a stage where I was like, oh, I don't know if that is the right route for me. And the local bank that I ended up starting my career off at, they came to my sixth form to do a presentation because they were actually looking to employ somebody. And I said, I'm not looking for a job, but I would like to do some work experience because I've always been interested in banking. I've always thought bank managers earn a lot of money, so I just thought, bank manager, great job. So I ended up doing work experience, fell in love with the place, and they ended up offering me a job. So since the age of kind of 18, I started working for a private bank. And once again, because obviously my salary kind of went up at that point from the waitressing job, I managed to once again save a lot more at that point. I was saving probably like £500-600 a month at that point. Sometimes even more. So it really kind of accelerated my saving.
That is so impressive.
And my goal was always to buy a house. I always knew what I was saving for. Yeah, I just wanted to move out.
Okay. Yeah, move out is something young people want to do, but move out and buy a house isn't something that I know anyone was thinking of at that age. It was like, oh, let me maybe get on the housing list and get a council property or something like that. But to think, oh, I'm going to buy my house, that's crazy that you was thinking like that at such a young age.
I've always been quite like business orientated, so I always kind of seen renting as throwing money away, whereas buying was more of an investment. Yeah. So that's why I always thought, right, I'm never going to be renting. If I'm going to move out, I'm going to buy. So that was always the kind of drive.
That's absolutely amazing. Because I'm thinking back to Tolu at 18, 19, 20. And my first job that I got at the age of, 16? All of that money went straight back to the store because I worked in retail outlet, and literally I'd get paid, and as soon as I got paid, even before I got paid, I'd been reserving things that I was going to buy on payday. So as soon as payday arrived, I would go back and collect all the things that I'd hidden in the stock room and pay for it. That was my mentality then. Saving was, not a thing I was interested in. So it's amazing that you had such a good head on your shoulders at such a young age. Oh, somebody's asked, how much was the house? I don't know if you want to disclose that.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. It was 100,000.
How much?
100.
Oh wow! No, that's impressive. That is absolutely amazing. And so you've had it for quite a few years now, so it would have gone up in value as well.
Yeah, when I looked at it, it went up by about 12%. So
nice,
so
very nice.
It's an investment.
Exactly, of course, that's an amazing investment. Abe Tin Time says bought mine last year at 31. Yeah, exactly. We got on the property like that at 30. Yeah, so, and even then I thought, oh yes, we've done it young, but to 20, absolutely incredible.
To be honest, I think, it is a lot harder nowadays. I think I got very lucky. And the fact that I live up north, the property prices are a lot lower than further down south. So I am in a very lucky position. But yeah, it definitely wasn't easy. It's definitely a sacrifice that you have to make. If you always want to get your nails done and stuff, you can't do that. You have to put your foot down and be like, right, no, I'm saving for the house. I have to do this. Amazing.
So then how long would you say, well, I guess 2 years it took you then to save up that deposit if you said you started working at 18? Okay, no, that's simple.
I started saving when I was 16, obviously through my part-time job. But yeah, it really accelerated when I got my job at the bank, and I could really start saving properly and aggressively, because then you get to have more money to pay all the fees as well. So obviously I had my deposit saved up, but then I had a chunk of money after that to then obviously pay everything else that goes with it.
Exactly. Gosh, I didn't even know all that stuff before we were looking to buy our first house. I just thought you needed a deposit. When I started finding out about solicitor fees, stamp duty, all these things, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much more.
It's all very painful.
Definitely. And so then in terms of the next question I have actually is about, because this is something that I saw you spoke about on your channel, and it's something that I only learned about recently, and I was like, why did no one tell me about this when I was buying my first house? And that's a lifetime ISA. So I know that's something that you encourage a lot on your channel to get people to get if they're looking to get on a property ladder. But I guess for the benefit of anyone that doesn't know about lifetime ISAs, because like I said, this is something I've learned about years after buying my first house. So for the benefit of anybody that hasn't heard of them, tell them a little bit about lifetime ISAs and why you think that they're good and people should have them.
So it's very similar to what the Help to Buy ISA was, because you cannot get a help to Buy ISA anymore. It's actually what I used when I bought my house. I used the Help to Buy one. The lifetime ISA, in my opinion, is a lot better. Mainly because the actual bonus that you get with the Help to Buy, you cannot claim that. You don't get that money until after you've completed on the purchase. So you can't actually use it towards your deposit, which is very misleading to a lot of people.
Very misleading, yeah.
Oh, honestly, I was so angry when it came to buying my house, because I got the money back after I completed, and I was like, I don't need it now. I need it for the deposit.
That's the point, surely, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the lifetime ISA, they pay the bonus after kind of 4 to 6 weeks after you've deposited the money, and it goes straight into your ISA account.
Right.
So you actually physically see the bonus in your ISA account, which is really, really good, because it gives you a better understanding of how much you've actually got towards your deposit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the other thing is you can actually save more in an ISA, so you can save up to £4,000 instead of, I think it's like 2,400, because it's limited to £200 per month with the Help to Buy.
Yeah.
And you can pay lump sums into the ISA rather than having to do it on a monthly basis, and then if you miss it, that's tough luck. With the ISA, you can make a lump sum deposit into it. So honestly, if there are first time buyers out there that are kind of struggling and not knowing what account to open to save for the deposit, the lifetime ISA is a must have.
Literally, I couldn't believe it. The Help to Buy is something that we probably could have got back when we were saving up for our house, and I didn't know nothing about it. I only found out about it when they were coming to close. I think it was like late November 2019 when it was coming to an end, and everyone started posting about it. I was like, oh, what's this Help to Buy ISA everyone's talking about? And I was like, oh, it's a bit late for me now, but yeah, this information is information that would be so useful for people to know. But it's like, I guess the information is out there if you go looking for it. But if you don't know what you're looking for, how would you know that you need this information? So, like when we were saving for our house, we just literally saved it in a normal savings account. We didn't even know about the license and things like that. So, no, it's very useful for those that are first-time buyers.
Well, definitely, you get 25% extra, don't you? So
it's crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like you put £4,000 and they give you an extra £1,000 for free money. Like it's absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. And you can even open it even if you have bought your first property but you can't access the money into retirement. But it's still £1,000 free every year that you're going to get between now and I think it's 50 that you can start to draw down that money from your retirement account. So
so with the lifetime ISA, I think you have to turn 60 to actually.
Oh, is it 60?
Get the money out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just opened one for myself for my retirement savings because I thought, you get 25% return. Like you don't see that very often.
Exactly. It's so worth it, 100%. Abby says, I found out that they were giving students mortgages with 5% deposits based on their student loans before the pandemic. Really? I didn't hear about that.
Oh, interesting. I've not heard about that either.
Happy Light said, up north explains it. Can't get a garage for 100k in the southwest. So lucky, well done. Yeah, you definitely can't.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like how different it is. It's the same country, but yeah, you just travel further down south and property prices go through the roof. It's mental.
It's so crazy. Like 100,000, yeah, literally you can't. I don't think you get anything in London, that's for sure. Even 300 you'll be lucky.
Yeah.
Max said, what do you think when do you think someone should get a lifetime ISA? If you're saving for your first house, literally get it straight away and start. Open it as soon as you can and start putting money into it, and you can put a maximum of £4,000 a year, I believe.
Yeah, and then, that's right. The minimum age is 18, so as soon as you turn 18, get that account opened.
Yes. No, seriously, it's so worthwhile. I messaged my brother the other day. I was like, "Have you opened a lifestyle? If you haven't, go and open it now." So I was like, even if I didn't get to use it, I want to tell everyone so that they can take advantage of it for sure. Okay, so then next question I have for you is about obviously buying your first property at such a young age. What would you say were the most challenging parts of it? What was the most challenging thing about getting on a property ladder so early on?
I think it's the way I've done it, to be honest, because I always wanted to buy on my own, and that was always the dream, that was always the kind of thing. And obviously I saved up by myself, done everything by myself. However, I was in a relationship at the time, and my boyfriend at the time didn't want me to buy on my own, and I was young and stupid, and I put him on the mortgage and I put him on the deeds without him contributing anything to either of those things. So yeah, it was a very painful process. I'm kind of glad I went through it because it taught me a lot about what to not put up with. But yeah, when buying a property, if buying with somebody, always just be careful. Be careful, because it's very expensive and very stressful to then sort it out.
But you were able to get it sorted.
Yes, it's all mine. It's all mine.
Oh, good. So, I was like, oh my god, that is horrible.
It was a learning curve, to say the least.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. I was thinking more along the lines of maybe savings or having to say no to going out with friends and things like that. But yeah, that's a big one, definitely.
I just think it's important because a lot of people kind of jump at the chance of buying because sometimes they might not be able to afford to buy on their own, so they think, oh, I'll buy with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and we can get on the property ladder. But honestly, sorting it out afterwards, I would not recommend it to anyone. Avoid at all costs, especially if it's not 50-50 from the outset.
Yeah, that's insane. But like you said, you were young and you live and you learn and you know for it. You're not going to do that again, are you?
No, definitely not.
Crazy. Okay, cool. So then what would you say you like the most about owning a property? Like what's the best part?
Having my own space.
Yeah. Do you currently live alone, or do you rent out any of the rooms?
No, it's all mine. I live with my boyfriend now, not the previous one, obviously, a new one. So yeah, we've got a little cat as well. So Yeah, but I don't rent any of it out at the moment.
Yeah.
I like my own space. I've always been that way. Even when I used to live with my parents, like I loved my own space. That's why I just wanted to get out.
Yes.
Sorry,
So
man. Sorry, Dad.
no, that's fair enough. You were
So
growing
yeah.
in wanting to do independent stuff. No, that's good. So we've got another question. Oh, it's a comment from Glenn. He says, I think now with people working from home, oh, I've lost the comment. Sorry. People working from home more, the market will improve further north as not everyone needs to be close to London. Ripple effect. So true. Love the
Yeah.
content this evening. Thank you. No, that is so true, actually. The fact that now everyone's working from home, and I know quite a lot of people have done that, actually moved out of London. So people that were in London just for work have now started buying houses further out of London, because it's like, really and truly, I don't need to be here if I'm working online. I can work online from anywhere. But it's so funny you should say that. So I was having another conversation with a friend recently, and they were talking about the fact that a lot of people's jobs may end up being at risk because of the fact that it's like, okay, before everyone had to go into work and work in an office, but if now your job can be done remotely, then surely we can hire somebody that can do that job somewhere else for a fraction of the price. So it's like, actually, this remote working thing, it has its pros, but you could like write yourself out of a job kind of thing.
I was gonna say it's gonna create such a mayhem.
Yeah, it really will. So I'm like, oh gosh, that's actually scary to think of that. But hopefully, if you work hard and you prove yourself and you're a valuable asset to your employer, then they won't fob you off for a cheaper alternative elsewhere. Exactly. Literally fingers crossed, because I remember my company tried to do that years ago. Actually, they tried to like close the offices and go and open a new one in Asia, but it didn't work out and they scrapped that plan. But who knows, maybe they'll revisit it again now that things are a bit upside down. You just don't know, do you? Okay, so just make sure there's no comments. If you guys have any questions, by the way, you guys that are listening in, thank you guys, by the way, for all listening in. Just leave them in the question box and we'll get around to any of the questions that you guys ask. Okay, so property-wise, what was the next one? Oh, yeah, okay, that's coming up. A bit more about what you do now. So you started off in banking, you were saying, so you started off working in the bank. So then what made you transition into the Mortgage Paraplanner? How did that kind of come about?
So when I worked at the bank, because it was a private bank, I got involved in just about everything. A lot of it was to do with mortgages, and I was working with one of the private banking managers who was a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And my next thing was to progress on to being a private banking manager and doing mortgages. So I'd done all my qualifications, but unfortunately the opportunity just wasn't quite there. I'm someone who likes to move fast. Sorry, that was my cat.
Okay.
I like to move fast and I don't like waiting. And if I know I'm ready to do something, I want to do it. I don't like being held back by people. And unfortunately, I was held back in that job. So got to a stage where I decided to move on, go somewhere else. So I joined a wealth management firm because I thought, right, I do want to be an advisor, but maybe more financial advice, not just mortgages, but financial advice. So I started doing more exams. So I'm now qualified in financial advice as well.
Amazing.
But once again, it was just taking a bit too long and I was a bit impatient. So I needed something more to kind of stimulate me, to keep me going. So that particular company had a pensions arm to them where they were a pensions provider. So I joined that team. And that was a really, really good learning experience because it was all to do with SIPs and it was just really, really interesting. And I learned a lot in that and it helped with the exams as well.
Yeah.
It was good. But yeah, once again, I wanted to go back to that financial advice, but there was just no open roles at the time. So I thought, right, I need to do something. I need to kind of move and progress. I need to learn new skills. So I weirdly ended up going into recruitment.
Oh, wow, okay.
Total change of career, ended up going into recruitment, mainly because I needed to challenge myself. I felt at a stage where I was getting a bit too comfortable and I needed something to really, really challenge myself, and recruitment was it. It was challenging, to say the least.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah. And that made me realise that I am not a salesperson. Like that is not me at all. And in recruitment you have to be quite
it's very ruthless, cutthroat.
yeah, it just wasn't me. I worked on the whole relationship
Yeah.
kind of vibe. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And then luckily, the guy that I was working with at the private bank, who was doing the mortgages, he ended up going self-employed in the meantime. And he contacted me and he was like, look, this is my plan. We've always said we wanted to work together again in the future. This is what I'm doing. This is how I see you fitting into the picture. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So initially, he wants to train me up to be a mortgage advisor like himself because he wants to kind of pass everything on to me. But initially, in order to get to that stage, despite being qualified, it's quite hard to become a mortgage advisor because you need to get signed off by compliance.
Okay.
But because of COVID, they're not taking on any new advisors as such. So at the minute, I'm trying to kind of fight my way through the system to get signed off by them to say, yes, you are competent. Yes, you can advise on your own. Off you pop.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm doing a paraplanner position where I do all the research for the advisor in question.
Okay.
Just to get more of a kind of insider knowledge on the products, and just it's really helpful because even as an advisor I'd have to do that myself anyways, but because I can't use the term advisor, and paraplanner is the next best thing because I'm still involved highly in the research side of things. So yeah, the next step is to become a mortgage advisor, hopefully, which should happen this year.
Yeah, no, that would be amazing. That's why I wanted to ask you actually what the difference was between the two. So I've heard of a mortgage advisor, obviously, but I hadn't heard of a mortgage paraplanner. So yeah, now I get it now. Okay, yeah, no, that's really good. That's really interesting. And how are you finding it?
Yeah, really, really good. We tend to get cases that are quite quirky that mainstream lenders probably don't really like. So we have to think outside the box about them and really try and find the right solution for people. And that's what I love, because it gets you going. It's like, right, how can we work this? What can we do? What can we offer? And it's brilliant.
So when you say quirky, do you mean like people that on paper wouldn't qualify for the traditional mortgage, or just, what do you mean by a bit quirky?
It could be anything. So it could be the type of property they're buying. So if it's a property with quite a lot of land or quite a lot of outbuildings, some of the lenders, some of the mainstream lenders might not like it. So you kind of have to look outside the box. Income, so if they're self-employed or recently self-employed, or if they've got a very kind of weird income structure, income coming from various places, stuff like that. It gets to a stage where mainstream lenders are like, no, too complicated, we don't like it. Too much work, So we have to kind of try and simplify it for them, or look for more specialist lenders, which we can do as well.
Okay. And at the moment, how's COVID, would you say, impacted your work? Has it been less busy, more busy, or kind of indifferent?
I think now it's really, really picking up. I think for myself personally, because I ended up going self-employed, as a mortgage paraplanner, the way we operate, I still bring in my own business. So I'm still at a stage where I'm building my name back up as a mortgage person in the area. So that's been a little bit challenging because it takes time to build those relationships up. But luckily, because I've already got some contacts from previous positions, that's made that a little bit easier.
No, that makes sense.
I'm still at a stage where it's all kind of getting built up, so the income isn't reflecting what I'm doing. So hopefully that'll soon even out.
But that will definitely change, exactly, over time. And the more you get your name out there, the more you get the testimonials and all of that. Because even our mortgage advisor that got us our property, he since got 3 of our other friends their property deals too. So it's like, word of mouth is the best way as well. Yeah, it definitely helps. Do a good job and people will definitely recommend you. No, it's so true. And then, this is another question that I had, which is relating to properties, but not what we've just been talking about in terms of mortgage paraplanning, but it was in terms of shared ownership. So, what are your thoughts? I wanted to know on shared ownership deals, because I know I have mine. I wanted to know what you think about it.
Personally, I wouldn't go for it, just because of that whole thing of I wouldn't rent. But that's my own personal kind of feeling about it. However, for people who are struggling to get onto the property ladder, who perhaps haven't quite got that income where they can afford to buy a full property, it can be a really, really useful scheme. So yeah, it just really depends on people's circumstances. As I say, personally, not for me, but I can see the appeal. I can see why it is beneficial to people. And, you know, when talking about it, I would definitely say, look, have a look at it, because it might be a great solution for you. And with the way it works nowadays, 3 staircase, and you can always get up to that 100% ownership at some point. So, you know, it, once again, just depends on your circumstances.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally agree. So it's not something I personally would do, but I can see why people do it, and I can see, it's better than nothing, basically, is what I would say.
Exactly. It's getting your foot on it, isn't it?
Exactly.
On
Even your toe, getting your toe onto it is something. So, yeah, no, definitely. So I'm just going back to a couple of the questions that we skipped earlier. So Happy Light said, what are your thoughts on stocks and share ISA, girls? So you want to go first and then I'll answer?
So the stocks and shares ISA, I've actually, the lifetime ISA that I've opened for myself for my retirement savings, that's a stocks and shares ISA. I am all for them. I think they are a brilliant investment mechanism. Whether it's a LISA or whether it's a standard ISA, you know, stocks and shares, I've always had them. Well, one, and ISA. But yeah, I would definitely look into it, because you can save up to £20,000 per year tax free. You know, it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, 100%. Same. I've got mine currently with Vanguard, and yeah, it's good. I definitely recommend it. If you haven't got one, definitely open yourself one, because yeah, there's money to be saved by doing it. Lady Han said, are you counted as a first-time buyer for a house if your first property is a right to buy flat? As in, yeah,
so as long as it is the first house that you're buying as an individual, then yeah, you will be classed as a first-time buyer.
Yeah, I think that's the question that you're asking. But yeah, not that, does that count? So like, if you've already bought your right to buy a house, can you still be a first time buyer after that? In that case, I'll say
after
no.
That, no, then you'd be a home mover, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so first time buyer is your first property, regardless of how you acquired it, kind of thing. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, maybe if one of you, like let's say in a partnership or married, and one of you bought the house, then the second person could potentially get the first time to get the LISA account and buy the house, but then they'll have to buy it individually. You couldn't buy it together, for example.
Well, that's actually a really good thing that you've mentioned there, because I was a bit stuck around that, because obviously I'm not a first time buyer, but my boyfriend is.
Yeah.
So we were then thinking, right, well, he's got the LISA, but can he use it if we buy a house together?
Oh, I don't know if you could do it together.
And you can.
You can?
Yeah.
No.
I researched it, because I was like, oh, I need an answer to this. And yeah, apparently you can. So there you go. I couldn't obviously use the LISA towards it, but he can use his.
Okay, you learn something new every day. Brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. So I hope that helps answer your questions, Hannah. Yeah, she said thanks. And she said my husband thought of that idea. Yeah, there you go. I hope that helped. Okay, so then advice for anyone wanting to get onto the property ladder. What kind of advice would you have for them? Or what would you say to somebody wanting to start?
I think it's just clarifying what your driver is. You know, if you're that determined to get your own place, you will do the necessary things that you need to do for it. Ultimately, save, and open a lifetime ISA. Yeah. I should be on commission for that. But yeah, it's ultimately all about just getting your priorities straight. And I've got a video on how to save for a house deposit, but it's all about kind of, it is sacrifices, because it's not easy, and people need to kind of realise that it does take determination and motivation to keep going when things get tough. You know, when you just want to spend loads of money, you know, think like what that money could do, and just save it and just see that end goal. It's not going to happen straight away, but when it does happen, it's honestly the best feeling in the world.
No, definitely. I think, yeah, just to add to that, I'd say be realistic with your goals that you're setting yourself. So yes, it's amazing to want to get on a property ladder, but just know your own personal financial situation, because everyone's situation is different. And for example, your friend could have just bought a house in a nice area. You're thinking, oh yeah, I want to buy a house there too, but you may not necessarily be in the same income bracket as them, for example. Or yeah, so just don't think, you know, because that person's done it, I need to do do what actually makes sense for you and your finances at the present moment in time. So I would say don't over leverage yourself. Another thing I would say, which I don't know if you'd agree with as a mortgage advisor, but I would say don't go with how much they tell you that you can afford. I'd say do the maths yourself. So that's something that I learned the hard way. So when we were buying our first property together, we obviously were told how much we could afford to buy, and we kind of basically bought at the maximum amount that we could borrow, which was fine when we were a 2-income household. But when I now wasn't working, I was on maternity leave, it's like, okay, now we've gone from being on 2 income to 1 income, but that mortgage price doesn't get halved because of one of us not working. So those are the kind of things I think calculate into it. Affordability for yourself, like yes, the bank will tell you how much they can afford to borrow you, but you should actually do the maths to work out how much you can afford to pay comfortably on a monthly basis based on the lifestyle in which you want to still live and maintain while you're paying off the mortgage for the next 10, 20, 30, whatever so years that you're paying it off for. So I think I'll definitely say that is, count the cost and work out how much you can afford before you get told how much you can afford.
Oh, definitely. And I'd just say learn to budget.
Yes.
Learn to budget, to know how much disposable income you actually have, and as you rightly said, how much you can realistically afford. Just because the bank tells you can afford £1,000 per month doesn't mean that that's the reality.
Exactly.
So always do your own calculations, as you rightly said.
Yeah, because that's something we didn't do, and I wish we had done it, like done the maths ourselves, because they just make sure that they can get their money back. That's what the bank's interested in.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you just need to make sure it makes financial sense for yourself. Stacey's just said, what percentage do you recommend for the deposit for the first time buyer?
I'd say at least 10%. I know the 5% deposit mortgages have come back in. However, at least 10%, just for you to stay on the safe side, really. Just because I do feel like the property prices at the moment are artificially inflated, just because of what's happening in the world. So if you've got a 10% deposit, you're less likely to end up in negative equity if that happens. If you can save up more, brilliant, because it just means that you have to borrow less, and that's another advantage. Don't borrow the maximum you can, as we mentioned before. If you can save more, save it and put it towards your mortgage.
I totally would second that. I'd agree with that. So I'd say 10% is a nice starting point. If you can even do more, the more the better. But I think the lower the percentage, the more risky, like you said, it can be for you. And interest rates and stuff as well, you probably be on a better deal the more.
I was going to say, the higher the deposit, the lower the interest rate.
So no, definitely it's better to, even if it means it's going to take you a year or two longer to get on the property ladder, at least you'll be in a better position than if you just rush it just to say, yes, I'm buying a house today. Like, there's no rush. Like, don't let social media rush you. I always say this, like, literally, don't let Instagram rush you. Like, do it at a time and in a way that is sustainable and doable for you. Don't feel the pressure to kind of do things to keep up, or just to do things because you feel like, I'm at the age now that I should do it. So obviously earlier I mentioned that the average house buying price is like 34. So you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 35 by the end of the year. I need to buy my first house. And it's like, actually, no, you don't. You need to do it when you do it, kind of thing, and when you can afford to do it comfortably. Because the worst thing to do is get all the money you need to get on a property ladder, and then fast forward a few years later, God forbid, you can't keep up with the payments or whatever, and then you lose it all plus all the money you've invested into it. So I think take the time and count the cost, and there's no mad rush to be on the property ladder.
Exactly.
Like, it can be quite glamorized, isn't it, to say, oh yes, I own my own home and I'm a homeowner. And it's like, that's fantastic.
It's not as pretty as it sounds, especially when things go wrong.
Exactly. The cost. The cost.
Don't get me started on that.
No, seriously. Like, even just this morning, I'll make you laugh. I had a shower, went to put the kids in the shower, and there was no hot water. I was like, what the heck? What is going on? Like, literally rushing to get out because I was meeting up with a friend, and there was no hot water. And I was like, what am I going to do? Now, if I was renting privately, I could just be like, call the landlord, hey, can you come sort this out? But there's no landlord to call. Fortunately, my husband's a gas engineer, so he was able to sort it out. But I was just like, oh my gosh, if you wasn't in the position you were in, we'd have to now call someone out to come and fix this boiler. And that's a cost, and a cost that we hadn't budgeted for or planned for that month. And those are the kind of things that come with owning your own property. Like, it's not just you pay your mortgage and that's it. Like, the maintenance fees and all the associated costs with owning a property are a lot. So
Ridiculous.
when you've saved up your deposit and you bought the house and it's all yours, that's fantastic. But make sure you have some kind of a contingency fund as well for all the other maintenance costs that come with owning a house, and especially if you're doing like a flat where you have like all those other fees that come with it as well, like the what's that thing called where you have to pay for the service, that's the one, service charge, because that one can be a killer as well. And one of my friends, she ended up being hit with like a £6,000 bill just after buying her flat. So she just bought the flat, just moved in, and then she was slapped with that 6K bill that she had to pay straight away because they were doing something to the roof. And it's like, that wasn't included in the budget for this new house. So these are the kind of things we need to take into consideration when buying that first house. So I'm just going back to the comments. Scylla said great advice. I'm not sure to which part, but thank you. Hannah said exactly. And Scylla said, but it's the investment for me. Yeah, no, 100%, totally agree. It can be an investment, but it can equally end up not being an investment if it's not done properly, kind of thing. So that's why you just want to count the cost and consider that for just jumping into it. Because it can do really good for you, but it can also get you into a lot of trouble if you kind of jump too soon into it, I'd say. Yes, there we go. Hannah's dropping some additional costs. Contents insurance, exactly. Appliances, boiler insurance, there's a lot.
No, it all adds up. You think, it's only a £5 here, 10 there.
There's a lot that goes into it. It's crazy. Have you spoken about 95% loan to value? Yeah, we spoke about that earlier. What are your thoughts on it? Good or more debt? Yeah, we talked about it earlier. You can watch the replay. You want to add to it, Ava?
No, I would just say, if you can save up a higher deposit, definitely do so, because if you borrow more, obviously that'll cost you more in the long run. So personally, I wouldn't recommend it, but it does depend on people's personal circumstances.
100%. Yeah, ditto. Lady Hannah said they fix all your appliances, boiler, cores, parts, labours and replacement. Domestic general is cheap to insure all those things. Yeah, but it's still a fee, isn't it? You still got to pay that. It's not free. So definitely will do. So thank you. Definitely catch that replay. Okay, cool. So I've gone through all of my questions. I'm just making sure I haven't missed any in the question section. Hold on 1 second. No, we're good. And we're good for time as well. Yay! I'm so good. I do have a tendency to go way over the time, which is not good. No, we're actually going to stick to... Oh, gosh, now we've got a question. Okay. No, so let's ask, where can we find good brokers? I at you, but you couldn't see my finger. But I was just waiting, Go further. Don't plug anyone else, are you? No.
But no, honestly, I think the main thing is to go off referrals. If your family or your friends have dealt with anyone and they've done a good job for you, then go to them. Ultimately, you want somebody that will actually explain the process to you, because unfortunately what I have seen kind of from the professional side of things is that there are many people out there that don't actually go through the process with you. They don't explain it. They just do it, if that makes sense. They just give you what you've asked for. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Well, I feel like it's not a good thing, because a lot of first-time buyers especially, half the time, they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. And it's, one of the biggest financial commitments you're ever going to have in your life. So you really need to have your hand held through it.
No, 100%.
Is what I think.
No, totally, 100%. Okay, so then I guess my closing question would be, in terms of people wanting to get on a property ladder or just wanting to get started, what advice would you give to them in terms of where to start? So obviously we talked about, saving, how to save the money and kind of the things to consider when you're getting on a property ladder. But practically speaking, what would you say someone that comes off of this live, what should they do next if they're looking to get on a property ladder?
I would say consult an independent mortgage advisor, because it's never too early to do so. I've got people talking to me now that aren't looking to buy for the next year or two, but they just want that initial bit of advice, bit of guidance almost to kind of give them those next steps. And when it's a personal situation, it's easier for me to kind of give more personal solution. So yeah, speak to an independent mortgage advisor. As I say, it's never. Am I here? Oh,
You're back, yeah.
yeah. Speak to an independent mortgage advisor because it's never too early, and they'll give you the steps that you need to take next.
Amazing.
And
Absolutely.
avoid debt. Avoid any type of debt, please, because that will
Yes,
massively
please.
reduce the amount you can borrow.
Yes, 100%. That is fantastic advice, and that's something, yeah, I learned the hard way. But yeah, definitely avoid debt when you're buying your first property, because it's very easy to go from having all this money saved to that money just going like that, and you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. So definitely save, and save some more, and even over save, so that you don't get yourself into trouble. Yeah, because there's just so much. The cost that you think you have, there's always going to be extra hidden stuff or things that pop up along the way. So yeah, you want to save up as much as you can, 100%, and start and get in contact with an independent mortgage advisor or someone that can kind of give you a bit of advice and hear more about your situation, what is you want to do, what your future plans are, and they can kind of talk you through what your options are, and then you kind of know what you need to go away and do. I guess they can kind of give you some kind of a plan in it, and then you can then go and work off that. So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, exactly, yeah, especially when you're kind of not too sure about your income. You know, how does that stack up? How much can you borrow? Can you afford to buy on your own, or is that not even in the question? You know, what do you need to do to be able to afford to buy on your own? You know, those questions can be answered, you know, once we know the facts and figures as well.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. That sounds really, really, really good. And I hope it's been really helpful to you guys that are listening in and guys that are watching it back on a replay. So I guess final closing remarks, any last things you want to say to the guys before we wrap this up?
If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You know, feel free to either DM me on Instagram or have a look on my YouTube channel, as I do have a lot of mortgage related content and explaining how it all works, hopefully.
Yes.
So yeah, always just ask the question, and there is no such thing as a stupid question, trust me.
100%. Yeah, no, there isn't. There definitely isn't. And yeah, definitely check out Eva's channel because it's really, really, really good. It's really good. Great content. Yeah, I literally recently subscribed. I was like, why have I not been watching these videos all this time? So yeah, literally I need to go back and binge on so many more of them because you cover so much on the property stuff. So definitely, guys, if you are looking to get on a property ladder and you just want to do a bit more research, that is definitely a good resource for you to check out and get that information from. But no, Eva, it's been absolutely amazing talking to you today. I really enjoyed our conversation. And thank you guys all for tuning in and listening in, and for everybody watching it on the replay, thanks for watching us. Yeah, that's literally it for this conversation. We're going to be back again. Oh, I'm going to be back again. Ava's not, but I'm going to be back again next week, same time, Thursday at 8, to talk to another guest about another money topic. In fact, next week I'm not going to tell you what we're talking about yet. But yeah, I'll be here next week, so tune in at 8 p.m. But that's literally it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Ava, for being an amazing guest.
Thank you for having me. It's been great to talk to you.
All right, see you soon.
Bye,
bye, guys.
Bye.